Welcome to the Uncle Ali podcast with me, your Uncle Ali.
I'm squeaking. Sounds like I'm moving over.
That's not even the microphone. That's your joints.
Do you know what it feels like?
That's just you moving.
I'm not even joking. It feels like it.
Oh, well, listen, the Uncle Ali podcast today, we are going to be talking about creating a kill switch mindset, whether you're a competitor in MMA, BJJ, boxing, or you're just a normal person going through life that wants to perform to your best in your job or wherever you are. I'm going to try and make it as relatable to everyone as possible. But before we begin, Wes, got you a little monster there, little monster film. Wes has never had a monster before, so we're going to crack one open, Wes, see what you like.
We're not supposed to be advertising, are we?
Sorry, it's an energy drink that may or may not be called Monster.
It might not be.
Hold on, wait for...
But if anyone's listening, we'd be happy to be sponsored.
Oh, happily.
Sponsor away.
Happily, yeah.
Sponsor the head
Give
off.
me the shittest energy drink in the world, and I'll say it's fucking great. Go on, give that a little drink, Wes. What do you think?
Sugar. It feels sugary. It's like what's that like? Do you remember those tubes you used to get with the black licorice? You could dip it into it, the sherbet.
Yeah.
It tastes like, reminds me of the flavour of that, I think.
And here's the thing, there's no sugar at all.
Right? It just feels like loads.
It feels like loads, doesn't it?
I have some news for you, lad. Right? So last week we were talking about I was frustrated. Remember, so we're on around the 1 year anniversary now when I stopped training and eating properly, right? And I asked you last week, why do you think that is? And you said to me straight out, you said, well, what's your goal? And I didn't have one. I don't have one.
Yep.
Right? So I was thinking about that overnight. I was pondering it. And at the moment as well, I'm coming up on 3 months where I haven't been drinking, but there's no real end goal to that, right? So I've combined the two. So the happiest weight that I've been was at 90 kilos.
Okay.
And I love whiskey. So I'm doing a thing now called Whiskey 90.
Okay.
I'm allowed to have a whiskey when I hit 90 kilos.
Wow, okay.
and I've written it on the fridge.
I love it.
You'll be proud of me. I'm a newbie to this, but I've actually set up an Instagram account. It's Cousin Wes Whiskey 90.
Okay, listen, I will be advertising that. Everyone give Cousin Wes Whiskey 90 a follow.
I have one follower, my sister Leanne. She'll be laughing.
Hi, Leanne.
To this in the car on the way to work or something.
That's brilliant. Okay.
But it's just giving me something to be accountable for. And now it's funny, man, because as soon as I had a goal, things changed. So I weighed in on Saturday. I'm 111.7 kilos, man.
Wow.
Yeah, 112.
Okay.
Might as well just say 112.
Yeah. Well, sure, that's, 22 kilo?
Yeah, I've got to do 22
people
kilo.
Don't realise how easy that is achievable, and people are like, oh my god, 22 kilos is a lot, and it is, like, from the outside, but trust me.
What do you reckon, 12 weeks? 3 months?
I would give yourself a good 6 months, but 3 months. Yeah, I would give 6 months to be sure, but like, listen, I would give yourself 3 months, see how far you can get, and then you can extend it, because what we do is we work towards the time we give ourselves. So if I give myself 1 week for a deadline, I'm going to do it in that 1 week. If I give myself 6 months, I'll just extend the same fucking project over the 6 months. I do it all the time. I did it with the form. The form for like, I had to fill in the form. Wes gave me, and it took me like fucking
5
a month
weeks
to do it. It took me 5 weeks to do it. And it was all I needed to do.
One page.
One page I had to fill in. But I just don't do admin work, Wes. Here's the thing as well, Wes, right? Funnily, right, speaking about, this will be addictive for you, the monster, but someone the other day said on a post, right? Someone said in the post, you're either really passionate or on drugs. That's what someone said. You're either really passionate or on drugs.
You?
And here's the thing, right? If being sexy and Irish and jacked is a drug, I'm a fucking addict.
That's a very nice thing to say about me, Ali. I can't imagine. Jesus, the idea of you on drugs is just... No, I don't want to be in that room.
You know what?
I don't want to be in that country.
No joke, and this is like people may like not believe. I've never taken a recreational drug in my life.
You don't need it.
I've never touched it. Never. I don't. I'm good. Even when I drink, I'm fucking bad enough. I'm happy drunk, but like
you're gonna kill me for asking this late into our friendship. But is it McLean? Is it Pristine McLean or Insane McLean? Are you McLean or McLean?
MAC.
Yeah, so
Mac,
is it
clean.
Mac
clean? Yeah.
McLean, yeah. So it's
clean.
Do you say clean or clean?
Clean.
Yeah, okay.
Clean.
Pristine McLean.
Pristine McLean.
Pristine machine. So what are we getting into today?
So today I've got a couple of guys fighting at the weekend, and this will be released after they compete. But we're going to go through a kill switch mindset, competition mindset for MMA, and overcoming everyday fear. There's funny me going through this because I actually had a client to sign up this week who has a friend who's actually in prison for something he didn't do, apparently. Don't know the ins and outs, but this client was speaking to his friend when he's in prison. Don't ask me how. I'm not on no grass. Anyway, he was speaking to his mate in prison, and he said, "Oh yeah, sign up this coach, Ali McLean." And he went, "Oh, who? Uncle Ali? Uncle Ali? You signed up to Uncle Ali? Oh, it's brilliant. I listen to his podcast all the time." So just shows you like this podcast is actually doing the rounds. Some people are listening to it you wouldn't expect. So if you are listening to it legitimately, thank you, because honestly, I would do this if no one listened to it, because I enjoy just sitting talking and shooting shit with Wes and creates content for social media. It is nice, it's good to do, but if it benefits people, I appreciate the support. So first of all, we're going to go into the competitive mindset. Listen, the actual mindset you need for competition, you want to manage fear, drive peak performance, and you want to embrace challenge. And this is whether you're in the cage or not. Your efforts and limitations are only really controlled by you in your mind. And you've probably heard this multiple times, like fear only exists in the mind, and it's, your limitations are all your own, you're doing. But it's really hard to like it's not magic. It's not like a week, I'll did a podcast and all of a sudden I have no fear no more. Fantastic. You just told me that one magic thing. Does that make sense? Because sometimes people make it out that way, don't they?
I think so this will be nice because I think you're doing it for people in competition.
Yep.
And then I'm starting off my whiskey 90, so I'll try and apply it to a more everyday situation where my competition is 22 kilos, right?
Yep.
This is going to sound like a very strange thing to say, and I find fear hard to identify the same way some people find goals hard to identify.
Okay.
Because I'm not typically afraid of spiders or snakes or speaking in front of people or any of those normal things that would scare people.
Okay.
So where's the fear in what I'm trying to do?
Let me see if there is a bit of fear. Hang on. Let me see if there's a bit of fear. Let me make a subject that may or may not
trousers
be
on.
That will scare anyone, Wes.
It's too belly buttons. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like a strange thing to say.
Are you scared of relationships? You see, you do have.
No,
fear.
I've got great relationships.
No, but you know what I mean.
My romantic CV is a disaster.
series, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, my financial CV is a disaster.
You know what I mean.
My social CV, fantastic. Anyone would hire me. Romantic CV, disaster. But that's not fair though. That's poor choices and poor judgment over time. I mean, now with this challenge, do you think it's fear that I'm not getting on the bike in the morning or not getting to the gym? I still haven't gotten to the gym yet. Is there a fear?
It could be multiple of things, okay? It's nice to identify this fear, and then you can kind of overcome that. You can overcome something. Do you know what I mean? If you can't identify what it is, just choose it as something and then overcome it, and hopefully you take action. But it's probably procrastination, self-sabotage. It could be a multiple things. I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not going to sit here and identify what it is. Just pick something. And it's fucking fear.
Is it easier for these guys going into competition that you're talking to? Because it's just there? Is it part of it? It's just there's a fear?
There is no other option for guys who competing. Like if you're competing, right, and you've got a fight on Saturday, you've signed up to it, so you're either going to fucking face it or not. So my idea of it is just to give you a little bit of a hold your hand a little bit. Hold your hand. Uncle Ali's going to guide you through it a little bit and give you some frameworks to go through in your mind. You're going to do it anyway, okay? And it's going to be a shit show, okay? Especially if it's your first competition. It's going to be a shit show. I'm just going to try and make it less of a shit show and give you the things to work on. Because here's the thing with competition, Wes, and fear. It's a never-ending process, but it is a process that improves gradually. Like, you don't just enter a competition, you're perfect at identifying fear and having the right mindset. Like, competing is a skill that you need to develop. Like, actually compete, not just the skill of the sport, but turning up on the night and performing at your best is something that needs developed over time. It's not something you just go in and you have right away. And it's the same with like overcoming fear in your life. Like, the more challenges you face, the better you become equipped to identify challenges. And you've already lost weight before, so this challenge for you is easier than it was the first time. It's just you've probably got a little bit less of a monkey on your back.
Would there be when you're leading up to competition, like some of the lads listening, would there be days on the way into it that you feel like pulling out and feel like calling off the fight and all these kind of weird things?
Listen, there's been times backstage where you think, fucking, I wonder if I could fake an injury here. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Never would. But it's like in my head, I've had in my head, and most of what people have spoke about, like in my head, it's gone in my head, fuck, I wonder if I just get injured and I didn't have to fucking do this. What the fuck am I doing? And then you realise what you're saying to yourself and you go, what the fuck are you talking about, you shithouse? Fucking, I can't wait to do this. So you've got like a little bit of bipolar schizophrenia going on in your mind where like this brain's saying that, but this part of the brain's saying, fuck this. Yeah. What are you doing, you mad bastard? You're going to get knocked out.
What do you think it is that kind of makes you walk forward into the fight then? What is that bit? So your brain is saying, don't do this, you're mad, but you walk out.
It's the competitiveness. Like there's a little man across the cage from you, and he has the exact same feelings in that locker room as you do in your locker room, and you're getting your hand dropped, and he's thinking the exact same thing. He's thinking, fuck this, what am I doing? And you're thinking, what the fuck is the point in this? We're both gonna fucking die here. And like you both have the same stupid fucking mindset. You're gonna step in a fucking cage in your underwear in front of your friends and family and potentially get knocked out for no money. What the fuck are you doing? The first place to sign up for it, but I'm all for it. I love it. And here's the thing, you're going to walk away from it and have an amazing story. Win, lose or draw, you set yourself apart from 99% of the population of men. Like, without a doubt, most men do not have the balls to step in that cage, and you're going to step in the fucking cage. You mad bastard, well done. That's the first thing. Like, you should be fucking proud of yourselves. But here's the thing, Wes.
There's a quote you have here. It says, our potential is elastic, shaped by both our limitations and the effort we make to stretch them.
Yeah, and the thing with that is I think, and I'm going to dive into talent a little bit next, but I think a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on talent when it comes to sport. And by the way, you need both. Like John Jones, he's worked hard, but he is also very fucking talented, okay? Like, they all are talented. At the top peak of any sport is talent you need. However, like, your potential is all down to your effort, but also the limitations you put on yourself and the belief you have in yourself. And that's the first thing you need to understand, is that self-talk of being able to do this is really important to recognize. Now, I'm not saying right now you're going to identify and change it, but if you find yourself before this fight talking shit to yourself, saying you're not ready, you can't do this, you're not good enough, stop it dead and replace it with something positive. No, I have a technique I used to use, and I used this outside of fighting, but it was an elastic band. An elastic band I used to put around my wrist, and I used to snap it any time I said something negative to myself. Now, then I used to replace it with something positive. So, for example, I would say, I'm a stupid cunt for doing that. I'd snap it and say, I'm not a stupid cunt, I just made a mistake and I'll fix it. So you understand the way I'm trying to rewire my brain by replacing it. Now I don't need to do that no more. Like, I identify it right away, and I very rarely say anything derogatory to myself now, unless I'm joking in a context for humorous purposes. Now, you can use that for competition. So on the week of fight, leading up to a fight, you find yourself being negative in sparring or training or whatever, snap it and replace it with something positive. That is an actionable step you can take right away, because the self-talk you say is really important. All the best fighters in the world have amazing self-talk. They're almost fucking delusional with how positive they talk about themselves. They speak it into reality. Like Conor McGregor, back the old school Conor McGregor, that guy was fucking round the bend. But I tell you what, he was fucking good round the bend. Not now, just round the bend, but but you know, a fair fuck you when you got billions of dollars or fucking millions and millions of dollars, and you're fucking rich and you're two-time world champion. You can be round the bend, do what the fuck you want.
There was a version of that I heard in Dublin once. Frank Berry was a great teacher I had in Colossia League in Dublin, and he was talking about being a director. And it's a very tricky thing for Irish people as well, especially. Yes. And he said, if you don't think you're great, nobody on that set will, as a director.
I love that.
And I was like, ooh. And it was very hard for an Irish brain to get around that.
People don't realise that. We have that problem, don't we?
Well, it's the crabs and bucket thing you talk about, and it's a lot of professors talk about it too over history, is that you get pulled back in by a society of people who are afraid. And
you can't do it. So
it's embedded in the Irish pain body, I think, to pull us back in.
I agree.
Like, who do you think you are? Who do you think you know everything? All these weird things that people say to you when you try and better yourself, and it's, you know, sit beside us, say nothing, be quiet. You know what I mean?
100%. As I see, Belfast is really bad for that as well. I'm sure Dublin may be the same, but I know anyone who does really well, has a nice car, and they're from Belfast on social media, they kind of get slagged off a little bit. Like, I know a load of people do really well and they post it and flaunt it a little bit, and like they end up getting fucking slagged off for it, because it's kind of like I know my own mum and dad growing up would have like been almost derogatory to the next door neighbour if they got a new car. Oh, I'm getting a new car. Like, fucking what? They probably deserve it. They earned the money. Like, the difference between you saying, oh, look at that cunt getting a new car, and saying, look, they must have worked hard for that car. Fair play. I'm going to use that as inspiration to get better. Do you mean? So how you view things is going to change your world, and you don't want to be derogatory. And like, that's a good point you made there, Wes. Like, don't be derogatory yourself, but also other people. Like, kind of, there's nothing wrong with that competitiveness, but competitiveness in a positive way. Like, fucking look at that cunt doing that double leg. Oh, it looks really good, but you know what? He won't pull off with me. He's a bit of a dickhead. Or just saying, oh, fuck, that double leg's brilliant. I'm going to use that as inspiration to improve mine. Like, just how you say things like that is going to influence your world. Does that?
My relationship with karma is bizarre. It's almost like My Name is Earl, you know, that brilliant comedy series that used to be on.
Yeah.
And stuff would happen instantly. And recently, I didn't realize that I was putting out a lot of negative energy by negative speak, and then I had something happen last week where I got it all the way back from someone I wasn't expecting. I was like, ooh. Okay, universe. Okay.
I get your head.
I was like, where's that coming from? Like, and I had to kind of ask myself, where was that? And then I realized I was very negatively broadcasting in one particular person's direction for a while. And then I got it back from a completely different person, but I was going, okay.
Karmic,
you know, getting back what you put out.
100%. Karmic.
I know it sounds cheesy, but it's very instant.
Here's the thing. What was I'm going to think of a quote here. Our frequency is what we frequently see.
Oh, I like that. Do you remember who it was from? No, doesn't matter.
Wes Watson.
Go on, Wes.
Wes Watson.
We like Wes.
We like Wes. Wes Watson's brilliant. Quotes like that. The guy's he's
a coach.
Brilliant. He's a coach. Spent 10 years in the penitentiary, but I relate to him a lot because I spent 10 years at the back of the gym. So it's kind of like it's not the same story, but different, but also like a little bit kind of similar.
Is it our frequency? What we frequently see?
Our frequency is what we frequently see.
Oh, I like that.
Our frequency is what we frequently see.
Does that mean, like, you know, the way...
Not just what you say, by the way, Wes. Like, I could say, what you say is what you get back. No, wank. Because I could be saying something nice to you, but deep inside, I'm a horrible cunt and I'm just thinking negatively about you. No, I want to and this is hard to change, but I genuinely want the best for fucking you with no expectation of anything in return. I don't want fuck all in return. And you know what? I know that will come back.
I've had a weird experience with, I don't know if you've had experience of this as well, where I know somebody who was in a very negative headspace all the time, right?
Yeah.
But when something really negative happened, like a big drama happened, they're very comfortable then, because it's almost like,
yes,
I told you. It's almost like this told you so kind of thing.
I
happens.
knew it,
and they're like this. They're like happy days, because
they expect
every day they're waiting for that negative thing, and then it's like when it happens, they're like, you know.
I was a lot like that during my career. I put that down to a lot of the down points in my career. And it's only when I retired and really started working self-development, working with other psychologists and stuff. I worked with a psychologist for a long time as part of his team. I did a lot of sales and stuff for them. But like, it was only when I did all that stuff and deep work that I then discovered that that's the issues I had. And that's why I do like Uncle Lally podcast, why I coach now and do a lot of content, because I don't want people to make the same mistakes I had. And it was mostly mental. That's why I dive a lot into the mental rather than just showing techniques all the time of how to do a fucking technique, because that doesn't benefit anyone.
How much of that do you think would be genetic, or how much of it can you learn through... You know, do you believe people are genetically, born talented, or is it something you can achieve or change? Or
champions are made from discipline and adaptability and overcoming fear. Like that's the truth. And yes, there is a certain amount of genetic potential there. However, that genetic potential is hidden. And think of it like an egg that hatches when you fucking don't know. Some people's egg hatches right away, and as soon as they're in the gym, it's like, holy fuck, you're amazing. But your talent might not be released for 10 years down the line. You don't fucking know when your talent's going to be released. And the only way you're going to unlock that talent is putting hard work in, adapting to the circumstances, and overcoming the fear and taking the fucking action. And that's what I don't want you to understand, because I was like, and by the way, your limitations, like back to point number one and your positive self-talk, like if you talk to yourself like shit, you're never going to release that egg of potential is never going to get released because you're talking shit to it. It's like hiding in that egg waiting, oh, I'm going to wait till he's positive and then I'm going to get released. Do you know what I mean? Like only when you speak positively is that going to release, and that's the problem I had. I thought I was the most untalented person in the world, and I look back now and I think, you fucking weren't. Like, I was at 15 years old, I was deadlifting 180 in the gym.
Whoa.
Like, I hadn't deadlifted before, though. Like, we're just sticking weight in the bar, and I went to Paddy Mooney. Was like, hey, can I fucking give that a go? All your lads in the gym were struggling with it, and I lifted it. No, I was a bit of a monk. I had that monk strength, you know what I mean? I had that proper monk. So probably a bit downy, but like I had a weird shape, like long arms and fucking, you know what I mean? I was built for deadlifting, but and there was no technique whatsoever. And I have a fractured back now, you know? So obviously don't follow my advice. But my point was, like, I had certain attributes and talents that I didn't discover because I was so blinded by my upbringing and like being told I was useless and everyone around me. I never had anyone turn around to me and say, Ali, you know what? You've got a bit of talent there, son. No one ever turned around to me and says, you know what? You could go well with the sport. I had one person in my life that ever told me I could be talented in sports. And that was a PE teacher. I can't remember his fucking name. He wrote in a report card, he said, Ali has a potential to play sports at a high level. And that one fucking message in high school, one fucking message from one coach when I was fucking 15 inspired me to pursue MMA full time. And it created my sport. It created my life. That one fucking... My parents never said it. My coaches never said it. My friends never said it. No one ever gave me the rule. Because as a man, you just don't give men fucking that respect and that like the little push forward. I never had it. Never had it. And that one little message fucking inspired me for like 20 fucking years. Longer. Just to pursue that fucking sport. It's probably less than 20 years, like, but you get my point.
How do you turn a message like that into reality then? Because I know one of the things you wanted to talk about was visualization and preparation. Is that so? Because you might get a positive little vibe. Universe might speak to you. I think that message that you got there was the universe saying something to you. And then how do you turn that into, without it being, because one of the things we talked about last week as well was I understood rock bottom as a motivator.
Yeah.
And it's a very powerful motivator, but I'm kind of in the middle now where I feel fine at my core. I'm quite a happy person, but I really want to get to that 90.
It's creating that end point of what it looks like. Conor McGregor's amazing. This talks about like visualizing it and like The Secret. If you ever get a chance to read that book, Think and Grow Rich is kind of similar. There's a lot of books in this that talk about visualization, and down the bones of it, you have to feel it in your core. And as a practice, a daily practice you need to do. I used to visualize very strongly. Now, I'm not going to tell you if you visualize it, like all these other wanky coaches, that you're going to achieve everything in the world, because it's not reality, okay?
Do you mean for the guy who's going to fight soon, that they visualize every round or every move or every
absolutely.
counter move?
So I'll talk you through that in a sec. So I'm not going to say it's going to change your fucking life. However, visualization is something important. So I used to visualize daily, like twice a day. So I used to visualize for at least 10 to 15 minutes a day. Twice a day. And I used to put on music that would make me almost emotional, and it would create almost like a trailer of a film, and I would go through the shit points of my life leading up to the fight, all the hard work I put in, backstage get my hand dropped, the walkout. I change the track, I put my walkout tune on and visualize the walkout, and then turn the walkout tune off, and I actually had the sound of a crowd, and I'd stick the sound of a crowd on, and I'd go through the whole fight, every round, going back to the corner, getting my cuts closed, because I used to cut quite a lot, so I used to be prepared for that.
Glue.
Yep. Well, it would be adrenaline at that time, because it would stop the cut. And then Vaseline, and I'd imagine that, because I always got cut. And going out for a second round, going out for a third round, and get my hand raised. And I always used to envision it in my mind, and then I used to visualize going backstage, and I used to visualize what we'll do after the fight. And I used to go every fucking thing. And at times, then I would visualize win UFC title, and I almost have a tear in my eye. I've actually cried visualizing before, as wanky as that sounds, where I've achieved all my goals. I went, fuck me, I actually did it. And that's how intensely you need to visualize, the point where it makes you emotional and you actually feel something inside. So if you are a competitor and you get beaten, you want to go through that, but you also want to go to the negatives, okay? So it's all right me saying you're going to go into a fight and you're going to think of the positives, you're going to knock them out in the first round and you're going to win, okay? But that's not reality, because life has challenges, and you have to negatively visualize as well, and people don't go through this. So what you need to do is do the fight, but you also have to imagine getting taken down. How the fuck are you going to get up? You get rocked. How do you get yourself back on your feet? How do you get yourself recovered? And it's not because you're getting prepared for it to happen. You just need to be prepared if it does happen. Nate Diaz actually did this a lot. Chaelson used to do it a lot, I think. You want to be going through the hardships in the fight as well. So what you can do to visualize this, I actually work with this with clients. I have tracks I give them to do this. However, if you're listening to this right now, set a 15-minute timer and just go through it. Go through the warm-up. Getting your hands wrapped. Intensely think about it. But in order to get in that place, you have to be in like a calm state. Now, your NLP is really good for this and hypnosis, but you want to almost control your breathing, be almost in a meditative state. And this takes practice, and for the sake of this podcast, it's hard for me to go through it right now. I just give you the full details on it, but you want to be almost in a relaxed, meditative state before you go through the visualization process. Now, with that, you want to visualize everything in your game plan. So if you're trying to go for takedowns, you'll be imagining it in your head and almost drilling the takedown in your head on how you see it coming. But the little micro moments of this, that's the important part, the micro moments. So if I was teaching someone and I wanted them to do a double leg in a fight, I would be telling them to visualize the triggers of when to shoot. So for example, say we're doing a reactive shot, which means someone's going to throw a punch at me and I'm going under it. I want to be getting them to visualize the shoulder twitching, and that's when I shoot. I want to be visualizing that shoulder twitch and getting prepared for that. Does that make sense, Wes?
It does, and I suppose the question I have when I'm listening to you, and it's probably really hard to answer, is what would be the difference of not going through all that visualization and going through it? Like, what do you think you have when you after you visualize? Like, I don't know if you have a comparison or if you can identify.
I can actually give you an example with me. So I competed in the Cage War tournament in 2010. That's the first time I won a proper title, and I wasn't meant to win it. And I performed. I didn't have an issue. It was the easiest two fights I've ever had, but I had two fights in one night and they're both quite easy. Not easy, but like I enjoyed them. I had gas tank for days, right? And I visualized that whole experience for 12 weeks, twice a day. And every little point was on point. I had a crowd, I had the viewpoint. I knew what the cage was going to look like beforehand because I'd been to the events previously. So I could visualize every moment of it. When it came to the point of me fighting, it felt familiar. That's the difference. Okay. You want to be going in that cage with a face, oh, yeah, this is actually quite familiar. I'm not actually nervous, but I've got that little bit of thing in my belly. But it's not like, oh, fuck, the cage is closing in. Like my first ever fight I talk about, like I shit myself. The cage was closing in. I had shit in my pants because I had Chinese a couple of hours before. And like the other guy was like this bearded guy, and 24 years old, and I was 17, and I was like, oh my fucking God, and I just started fucking swinging at him because I thought, fuck it. Do you know what I mean? The difference with that went 2010, and that was only 3 years later, but I was a grown adult then, and the difference with that was I'd been there, but I'd visualized it in my head. Right. I was calm. I was relaxed.
So you didn't visualize in the younger fight?
No, I had fucking no idea what I was stepping into. Yeah. I was like, holy shit. It was like...
Tell me how time felt in that moment. Did it feel slowed down or really fast? Was it a flurry or was it kind of like...
So that's a good point, Wes. The thing with fighting, and if people fight for the first time or the first experience, you want to give yourself 30 seconds to a minute in the fight.
What does that mean? Give yourself 30 seconds?
Just do nothing. Circle. Get your bearings for the first. That's why every fighter does it, because you get used to the cage, you get used to the breathing, and you get used to your opponent's rhythm. Don't rush in and start throwing fucking combinations.
Like young Ali did.
Oh, like I just jumped head first and went, let's fucking have a go. Let's go. And like that sounds great. You're like, oh fuck yeah, but it's dumb as fuck. And you're just gonna perform badly. So circle, take your breath. Give yourself 30 seconds to a minute, because in reality, 30 seconds to a minute is probably like 10 seconds in reality. It just feels like it's 30 seconds to a minute. You know, in a fight, time goes really fast. You don't understand it. It goes really fucking fast. Like, you just don't see it going. So you get caught up in the moment. So just give yourself 30 seconds to a minute. Let that calm, let the fear settle a little bit, let the anxiety settle. Before you know it, you'll feel comfortable. And then when you go back to your corner, if there's a second round, you go back to your corner, you be sound like, oh fuck, this is all right. And then you can start kind of enjoying it a little bit, get in the moment. Does that make sense?
Is it like owning the space or being in the space? Kind of like you start feeling the being in the moment.
It feels more familiar. It feels like, oh, this is home now. This is nice. This feels familiar. It's like the gym. Only there's a crowd and I'm naked, so it doesn't feel as bad. And well, maybe you do that in the gym as well. But it feels a little bit more familiar now. Obviously, listen, it's easy me saying that every case by case scenario is different. Like not everyone's going to have that experience. Some people can go in and they perform really fucking well. They're natural competitors. From a personal perspective, I was hot and cold. Now, I wasn't an awful competitor. When I was on, I was good. But I also had some really fucking bad nights where I wasn't on. And that's just my personality in general.
Is visualization kind of the same as, let's say you have to do some kind of, I don't know, you're a student and you got to do a presentation for something. And I would say practice your presentation before you get in the room. And
yes,
it's not to say that you're going to be an amazing presenter, but it'll be familiar. Gives you familiarization, that kind of a
100%.
Even if it's a subconscious familiarization through an imagined thing.
100%. Like if you can perform it in your mind, then it's also a matter of speaking it out loud and doing the right body actions. Do you know what I mean? Like the hardest part's getting it together up here, and so anyone can visualize that literally.
For my whiskey 90, I'm visualizing a Lefroy in February when it's still winter and cold. That's 22 kilos in 12 weeks, though.
Listen,
and I can really see it. Like.
But you can see it, but also you need to visualize the day-to-day processes as well.
Yeah.
So like people think visualization is just an end goal, like a fight or something, but it can be day-to-day. It's like, okay, I'm going to go in the gym today and I'm going to bench, right? What am I putting on the bar, right? I'm going to put on 60 kilo, right? How is that going to feel, that bar? How am I going to squeeze that? Where are my elbows going to go? Is my shoulders pinned back, right? They're pinned back. My legs are pinned to the ground, great. Okay, fantastic. Right, I'm going to do pull-ups. So what are the actions I need to do? Okay, I'm going to pull them elbows straight down to my hips. I'm going to pull my chest high. I'm going to look up. Do you know what I mean? So you can go through cues of the technique of the gym exercises you can do. You can also go through the intensity. Okay, how am I so going to feel when I go to failure in that set? It's going to feel really fucking hard. And you'll look like a fucking weirdo. No one gives a shit. Visualize in your head, even before the set, visualize how it's going to feel. So don't just relate this to fighting, like relate this to the fucking gym. Or you go high rocks, like a lot of girls go to high rocks now. So if you're doing a high rocks class, like visualize the workout before you do it. You know, we get the workout beforehand, or you have an idea of what you want to do. So like go through the exercise, right? I'm going to smash this. Okay, the next part, that's going to be really hard. After that row, I'm going to do a sled push. That sled push is going to be really fucking hard. But you know what? When I get the failure, I'm going to fucking push through it. So you can relate this to anything in your life. Like visualization is like, if you can see it in your mind, normally you see it outside.
The problem with that is though, we're very creative creatures, and what I visualize can change in an instant. So I could be thinking last night, I'm definitely going to get on a bike and cycle, and then this morning it's really frosty and I'm going, oh, you know what? I could do emails on the bus.
You should be visualizing that.
Changing, you know.
You should visualize that. Visualize that as well. So visualize the night before. Well, what if I give an excuse? What's it going to negative visualize it? So what's it going to feel like if I don't go to the gym tomorrow? Am I going to feel like a useless piece of shit? And then you do turn into a useless piece of shit and you go, oh, fuck me, I turned into that useless piece of shit I visualized. Why the fuck have I failed again? And hopefully over time that's going to change your actions. It might not for everyone. But listen, if you're not doing it as part of your process, you'll never know if it'll work for you or not. It might be the secret sauce. Not everything I'm going to say is going to be the secret sauce. And along with that, you're going to experience fear and anxiety. So that's the most rampant thing. You're going to have a question. If I'm going to have fear, I'm going to have anxiety, I'm going to struggle. And the truth is, fear is a good thing, and people have the wrong expectation of what fear is. People talk about fuck fear and do it anyway. Like that's a girl called Susan Jeffers wrote a book on that. Fuck fear and do it anyway. It's a great book, by the way, but it's a wrong mindset towards fear, in my opinion. Fear is your friend, and you want to be friends with it. You want to learn it. You want to know its name. You want to be friends with it. Hold its fucking hand. You know what I mean?
I think there's this societal shift to run away from stress these days.
Yeah.
And I use a really nice clip that I found randomly on YouTube with this rabbi talking about a story of a guy who read about these lobsters in a magazine. So a lobster, actually, the body's quite soft.
Okay.
And when it grows into the shell, it gets stressed out. And it needs to change out of the shell into another one. So it's a kind of little, vulnerable kind of a see-through thing until it gets another shell. But the point being that the trigger for growth was stress. Now, if you were to medicate that stress or to ignore that stress or to kind of do something else to calm it, the lobster would never grow, basically. You know what I mean? And it's that kind of...
100%.
It's that kind of... and I see it a lot with students, as soon as something's hard, they're looking for a different thing to do. Like, can I get it out of this? How do I get? Is there a shortcut? Is there a thing?
It's like society now. I'm not going to go into these conspiracies too deep, but obviously, listen, you don't want a really strong, powerful nation of people who are go-getters and fearless, do you? Like, it wouldn't be advantageous for a government that wants you to be a little worker bee and stick to the rules and do what everyone else meant to do and just follow the matrix, so to speak, okay? Because it wouldn't be advantageous. So that's why you go, oh, you've got anxiety. Oh, have a pill for that. You've got anxiety. Have a pill. Don't bother doing anything about it. Don't bother using it as fuel. Don't bother looking for alternative ways to deal with it. And by the way, there's people with anxiety and it's serious. Like, don't get me wrong, but like for the most part, it's like, oh, here, take a pill. Don't worry about your lifestyle. Here, take a fucking pill. Or you've got depression. Oh well, let's ignore the fact you don't exercise, don't sleep, and you smoke weed every night. Here, take a pill. That'll fix that. And like society now wants you to just get rid of that stress. Don't use it to feed yourself. Because we need, listen, if you're listening to this and that's you and you use tablets to kind of alleviate your stress and anxiety and you're happy, good for you. Because I need people to work at McDonald's when I want a Big Mac. Like I don't want you to be successful. Like there's too much, if there's more competition for me, it means I'm going to earn less money. Like the less competition, the fucking better. That's good. It's a good fucking thing that you're fucking weak. Because we're walking down the street and I'm fucking jacked and ripped and you look like a fat fucking mess. Who's going to pull the bird? It's not going to be you. You're a fat fucking ugly mess. Nobody gives a fuck about you. That's reality. It's a competitive space. You think we're just talking about fighting here, but we're talking about day-to-day life. If you're a fat, ugly piece of mess and no one gives a fuck about you and you avoid stress, you're not getting anything. You're going to get fucking lost. You're going to lose. If it's between me and you and I'm working fucking hard and you're not, I'm fucking winning. So use it as fucking fuel. You need that stress to push you forward. Anyone who's been successful, any man who's actually achieved anything in their life has an absolutely massive amount of stress to just able to handle it better than a normal human. You can get there as well. You're the only person that can get you there.
I think the way you phrase that sometimes comes across a bit harsh, and I'll try and explain it this way. When I was 125 kilos, I would look at that photograph, and I showed it on the last podcast, and the Wes on I think it's on the left-hand side, the overweight Wes, he thought he was fine, and I wasn't stressed, you see.
Yep.
I wasn't feeling there was an issue, really, do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes, like you're saying, rock bottom, it's very easy to be comfortable in society right now. And I think what we're talking about in terms of a fighter being prepared and the stresses of someone who's overweight, and there's all this weird messaging about, we're designing society to be sold stuff.
Let me challenge you on that.
Go on.
You're right. It is very easy to get lost in society with like being comfortable with being overweight and stuff. But that's why I'm calling them fucking out on it. Because I don't want them comparing themselves to an average person down the street. I want you comparing yourself to me or someone else you look at and kind of go, fuck, he's in shape. Or someone else who's fucking rich and got loads of fucking money. Compare yourselves to them. That's why people I don't like it when people like shame influencers for posting their bodies online. It's like, oh, it's not realistic. It is fucking realistic because they've got it. You just can't fucking get it because you don't want to put the fucking work in. You need to compare yourselves to them and hold yourself to a fucking higher standard. I call fuck you energy. You want to have that fuck you energy, I'm going to do that too. But so many people are just weak and resting on their laurels and like, oh yeah, I can't achieve that. I'm just going to eat McDonald's.
It's hard to find a trigger for that when you don't have something like a fight or a competition to prepare for.
You need that fuck you energy. Okay, and I'll tell you why, and I'll give you a few examples because I actually wrote notes on this the other day, and it was Andy Elliott talking about it, and I fucking love Andy Elliott and what he talks about. Sometimes he's very controversial. He's a salesman. He's a salesman. He kind of calls people fat, and he says he won't hire him if he's fat. And it's just really that's just bait. That's rage bait.
That
okay,
body shaming these days.
It's body shaming. But
I don't know.
Here's the thing, right? It's not always about. I said this the other day himself as well. It's not about who you want to become, but who do you not want to fucking become? Like, stop thinking about who the fuck you want to become. Like, you're looking at like, oh yeah, I don't have a goal to aim towards. Well, who do you not want to fucking become? Do you want to stay where you are? Do you want to get worse? Like, visualize yourself getting worse. Is that where you want to be? Because that's where you're heading. So it's not always about where you want to be. It's about where do you not want to fucking be a year down the line? Do you want to be stuck where you fucking are? Do you want to stay there? Do you want to stay there? Because if you want to fucking stay there, that's fine.
You really sound like Uncle Ali now, giving out to me.
I know, but that's true.
It's good though.
It's
no,
not
it's
just
like,
you. This isn't you, by the way.
Hard, no,
it's
but
them.
it's hard to
it's
hear.
Fucking them.
It's all of us. It's like, it's hard. I think what you're saying is the things that sometimes some of us need to hear. And I think I get apprehensive of it because it might switch people off. But at the same time, why am I switching off? I think that tendency to switch off is me retracting into my comfort zone again.
100%.
Switched off to
Fuck
that.
the comfort zone ways.
My kind of defense against switching off to that, I'm recognizing that as me going back to comfort space.
Yes.
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. 100%. Well, listen, Wes. Here's the thing. Right. I'm gonna relate this to you. It's like if I say you're doing great, you're doing well, Wes. Oh, you're just trying your best. Like, it's okay, Wes. Like, listen, you feel this week? Don't worry about it. We've got another week. You've got loads of time, Wes. Right? Very positive. Let me turn around to you and say, you're a fucking fake. I can't wait to watch you feel. You're fucking useless. You can't do what the fuck? I knew you'd fucking feel. I knew you weren't good enough. Stick to what you're doing. Stick to what you're doing. Makes people make me look so much better. Which one's going to fucking anger you the most and make you take action? Not the positive one. You're not doing fuck all the positive one. No, the negative one might make you go, oh, cry in the corner, be sad. But eventually you're going to go, well, you know what? Fuck you.
Well, my response to that right now was, no, you're wrong. Like, I'll fucking show you. Like.
Exactly. That's what I fucking want. Do you know what I mean? We need that fucking energy. We need to remember that.
It doesn't work for everybody. Or
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And that's why I put a caveat. Like, that may not work for you. And that's great if it doesn't.
I felt that there, though, because the first way you approached that was sort of like, and I think that's where me and you have been for the last couple of months.
We're friendly as fuck.
Okay.
We're friendly as fuck.
No, but
and
it was
it's me on me.
No, our language became, look, you've got a stressful job, blah blah, and I wasn't getting to the gym, and we were
100%.
Then the second one, when you went there, that felt like when you were training me sometimes.
That's the way it should be. And listen, that's on me as I become friendly with someone. I'm like,
that's what got me.
I lower that down. I've got to understand that boundaries. That's my coaching. Yeah, I agree. That's down to me to be able to coach and differentiate between it. But at the same time, like, I'm like, listen, I do understand you have a stressful job. Like, people don't realize what you have. And it's no excuse, don't get me wrong. But I want you to create that fuck you mindset in your head and have that person. You want, even if you have to create an imaginary person called Jimmy, and Jimmy talk shit to you.
It's like the fighters prepping now. Like, they already have. It's almost like they have a villain in their mind, don't they? So
That's the opponent.
You have to, yeah.
And that can be that person they're talking to. They're talking to their opponent, and every time they feel like quitting at the gym, he's saying, yeah, I know I'm going to beat you.
What if his
this was bad for me, Wes, because I used to visualize that, and it used to force me to train more sessions than not, because I'll be sitting in bed thinking, fuck, beating my opponent's train. So I used to like go for runs on Saturday nights and like
tell me how many times a day you would train when you were in that mindset back then.
So on a Tuesday and Thursday when I trained and I was fighting professionally in Liverpool, it would be 5 sessions. And people don't realise, people think I'm talking shit. I'm not talking shit with that. So in the morning, we'd do 2 hours in the morning, and then we'd do weights at 3 o'clock. Nice. And then the nighttime session was always 3 sessions. It would be BJJ, pads, and then wrestling. And by the end of a fight camp, I'd be getting vertigo on the mat. So every time we'd get taken down with a takedown and look up at the ceiling, I'd get dizzy and I'd have to turn over. And that's my trigger in my head when I've done enough.
And tell me what food and sleep is like around those times. Like,
I was eating 4,000 calories to cut weight. And sleep.
4,000 cutting.
4,000 to cut.
Wow.
For against Ellis Hampson, I was eating 4,000 to cut weight. And then I was also doing pads with Carl during that stage as well. I'm a MMA coach. And I was sleeping like you average 8 to 9 hours, but I was napping during the day for like a couple of hours as well. So like I do weights from 3 to about 4:30, and then from about 4:30 to 5:30, I'd probably try and get an hour in of lying. I'd normally just be in the darkness, just sitting there. I wouldn't normally be able to sleep because I'd have pre-workout in me.
For the guys that are prepping now, like what would you tell them?
Don't do fucking that. Like, do not fucking do that.
What's the good balance there then for these guys?
Obviously,
right
for you, like as a competitor, you've got to understand your own limits, and you also build up your work capacity through time. I built that up for a long time. I was able to get to that. If I did that now, I'd die. But your goal should be at least twice a day. Like any human being, you train twice a day if you're wanting to fight. That's the minimum, in my opinion, if you actually want to be someone. And that means technical work. I don't just mean going to the gym and lifting weights. Like that's where I went wrong earlier in my career. I just do a lot of physical stuff and like get really fucking strong and fit. And that, like, don't get me wrong, I was physically always a great fighter. Like I never really gassed in fights. There's only one fight I ever gassed in, and that's my mistake. That wasn't because I wasn't in shape. But that you want to be getting them technical sessions in as well. Okay, that's key when I talk about that. Like physical preparation, you want to be physically ready as well. Now, you also want to understand that there's going to be a lot of pressure. You're going to have a bounce back mentality. And this is not only in the fight, like in the micro, but also in the macro over time. Okay, so in a fight, you're going to get taken down. Okay, and you can sit and dwell. And I've had teammates that have just sat in someone's guard for a whole fight and lost the fight because they just didn't do fuck all. And that can happen. You don't want to be that fucking guy that just is a walkover, okay? So you've got to have that ability to understand that there is going to be times when you're going to have to overcome shit. And in a fight, when you're actually fighting, right, you get an energy dump. And what I mean by that is if you get taken down, you go, oh, fucking hell. And all the energy drops and you're fucked and you think, oh my God, I could just sit here and fucking give up. And that is the internal fight you've got to have in the fight. There's a fight inside the fight with yourself. And it's that fight that's telling you, get the fuck up, you cunt. And you have to have that internal dialogue in your head to tell you, get the fuck up, or you're getting hit with shots and like, fucking get yourself together, son. You have to have that internal dialogue to get yourself going, okay? And that's in day-to-day life. You're having it. You're having that internal dialogue, right? You've got that fight right now in your head about going to the gym. And you've got to win that fucking fight. You've got to have that fight. Every morning you wake up out of bed, you've got to go fucking for the run. You're having that internal dialogue. Oh, just go back to bed, innit? Just go back to bed. Oh, he's fucking won. You've lost, and everyone else in the world has just beat you. Every time you don't go to the gym, everyone else in the fucking world has just beat you. Because now you're behind. Because everyone else going to the gym that is getting up is one session ahead of you.
How do you keep on top of that when you're coming into competition and you do, for whatever reason, maybe, I don't know, there's a sickness or someone passed away or just life happens and you do actually miss a day or two and you've been doing well? How do you stop that negative voice from, like what you just said there? So you're always going to be 2 days behind, 3 days behind. How do you get on top of that?
You have to understand there's only things you can control. You can only control your actions. So if you're ill, that's not within your control. So before that, okay, are you taking all your supplements? Are you not overtraining? Do you see any signs of getting ill? Like, make sure you monitor that. Make sure you have a good coach to put you through the process. Why I coach athletes. But also then, during the moment, if you are actually ill, you can't control that no more. So you can take your supplements, you can make sure you're healing, make sure you're eating enough calories because you won't be in deficit when you're actually ill. You want to give yourself enough fuel to recover. But then, okay, you can also do other stuff when you're ill and you're injured. So you can turn up the gym still and watch sparring and write notes. You can listen to the class and write notes on the techniques being taught. You can study fight footage. You can watch your opponent. There's a lot. You can stretch. You can go and do recovery work, or you can mobility work, stretch, foam roll. There's a lot of shit you can still do, even though you're not actually fighting. You do all the stuff to prep you for it. You can do the visualization stuff we spoke about. So there's a lot of stuff you can actually do. People use it as a crutch. Oh, I'm injured. I can't do fucking anything. Or you can't do mobility work. You can't stick to your diet and go for a little walk.
Yeah, you were saying if your legs are sore, train your arms. If your arms are sore, train your legs.
I tore my knee multiple times in my career. I used to spar still with torn knee. I used to strap a fucking knee brace on and just box spar, not to say like it's no kicks, just avoid that kick in that leg. Do you know what I mean? Like, so many times, like, I got cut open, just glue it up, put a head guard on, fucking crack on. I broke a rib. I used to put a body shield on with a broken rib. Just hope, and you'd be in pain, you'd be screaming because it would still get hit, and people would be cunts and hit it on purpose because, like, they're fucking cunts in the gym sometimes. But rightly so, it's a bit of fun in it. But you'd be in pain, but you just crack on with it. You get on with it. If my right hand was sore, I just wouldn't use it and use my jab, practice my jab. Back to my jab, still spar. I'd still spar. My right hand was sore, okay, or my left hand sore, okay, I'm going to southpaw and practice my jab with my right hand now, or I'm going to use right hand only for the sparring. So you can always do stuff, and people look for excuses. Listen, if you want to be the best in the fucking world, you've got to adapt. That's what we're talking about. You've got to be overcome fear, but also adapt to the situation. Because do you think you're ever going to go into a fight fully fucking rested without an injury? You might have to win a fight someday with no fucking left arm, and you're going to have to use your right hand. Make sense?
It goes against, I think, some of the psychology behind this. If you listen to it, it's sort of like your brain's first job is to protect you and to keep itself alive. Like,
yeah.
So when we're in our couch and we're in our home, we're safe, and your brain's going, I'm safe, we're staying here. So then a lot of the internal battle you're having, and the reason that you get these new narratives and new stories, I think, inside your head is like your brain's best. Yeah, your brain's, it's there to conserve energy is one of its first goals. And I think, because I've been trying to figure this out for years, like, why do they always sit in the same seats? Your brain has gone, I've made that decision already. I'm not going to waste energy making that decision again. That's why you sit in the same seat. And I think a lot of what we're battling with our own sense of survival. I mean, the last thing your brain wants to do is bring you into a cage and get punched, like literally your brain punched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do the guys that are prepping for fights, and then I'll ask how we do it in our normal lives, like what's the overall mindset? Like what's the key to this? Like what are we trying to say?
So there's a couple of things to obviously creating a mantra. Okay, so if we had a quick mantra we were going to go through now, what a mantra is something you repeat in your head, and you can do it over time.
Could be a power word or something like that.
Could be a power word, like I'm powerful. Or, strength that you repeat yourself, strength, something that you align with. Or you could just be like, listen, I am strong and powerful. I am fit and I never gas. My double leg is strong. My punches are powerful and fast. My kicks are ferocious. I do not quit. And, listen, you can use that mantra if you want, or make your fucking own one up. Doesn't matter, but repeat that in your fucking head, and you can think that to yourself backstage before you're competing, and just repeat that mantra, and you can change that mantra fight to fight based upon who your opponent is. Okay, like if he's really good at double legs, and my sprawl is amazing, my takedown defense is undeniable, and when I get taken down, I am like a fucking caged animal. No one in the world holds me down, and you can repeat that in your head, and you create that mantra around it. But also we've got to understand then, as far as identifying fear, it's a green light. So when you see that fear and when you step towards it and when you embrace it, because the difference between fear is a fine line, okay? Because if you woke up, I say this all the time, and I read this from a random book years ago, but the difference between fear and excitement are very small. If you woke up on Christmas fucking Day, you'd have all the same bodily responses as you would to fear. You at Christmas Day, you wake up, your heart rate's a little bit higher, almost a little bit of perspiration almost. When you're fearful, what's the same? Your heart rate raises, a bit of perspiration. The only difference is how you perceive it. The difference between fear and excitement is how you perceive it. Now, you can't magically turn around and say, oh, that's not fear anymore, it's excitement, like that, okay? But what you can't do is almost fake it till you make it. And you want to be telling yourself and remind yourself, no, that's not anxiety I'm feeling. That's not fear scrap that. That's not fear I'm feeling. It's excitement. And see it as a green light. Because that's if you see that, if you understand how you're going to grow, it's always outside your comfort zone. Like you never grow inside that comfort zone where you're comfortable. Like if you never took that fight, if you never had that fight, think about it, you're never going to have the chance to win. So you understand that you can only improve if you take this fight and you actually fight, which understand is outside where you are in your comfort zone. Now, your comfort zone's here and your goal is here. What do you think is in between? In between your goal and the comfort zone is fear. That is the barrier to achieving your goal, the fear. That's why most people never get to achieve the goal, because they're scared of the fear. The fear overrides them. But if you want to step into out of that comfort zone, into the goal, and achieve that goal, you have to step into fear. And it doesn't mean you'll always achieve it. You might get to the fear and fail and go back into your comfort zone again. That's fine. You just give it another crack. Okay, I'll give it another go. And think of it like a bouncy wall you keep bouncing against. And eventually, you get fucking through that fucking bouncy wall and you achieve your goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think in terms of relating that to where I'm at the moment, I think any of those feelings at all, like fear, stress, anxiety, all those stuff equals life. And there's a lot of people not alive anymore that can't do those things. And I think one of the things as well is to try not to get, and I'm talking myself back into the mindset I was in last year actually, is that there's a horrible term that I hate about for men my age, and it's that dad bod thing.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Yeah,
it's even, if you're on crappy dating apps, there's even a section in there where you can choose dad bod, and people say they're looking for dad bod.
Who even does that? Does it have a section for sexy Greek Irish gods?
When we did, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Where's my slot, lads? Aye, just me and my own. Aye, what? Fucking what?
And would we be allowed to pick it and not be, But the thing about it is, I'm trying to say is like I think we can accept these little things too easily. And there was a moment during this podcast where you got quite heated, and I needed to hear that. If even if it was just for me, and it's already flicked a few switches in my head. And you know, it is. I really hate it, man, because I'm that age now where people would accept that and it's fine and dad bod and stuff. But no, I'm gonna do the 22 kilos by February and 6-pack by summer.
Listen, there's a guy called Mike O'Hearn. Mike O'Hearn is like 50 fucking, I don't even know what he is. He's in his 50s. He looks 21.
If you're 2 feet in a heartbeat, if you're alive, you have a chance.
He's ripped the fucking shreds. Listen, there's nothing limiting in you. And I see this applies to people thinking about, should I start MMA and should I compete? How the fuck would you know unless you give it a go? I have so many people message me and say, should I compete in MMA? Should I give it a go? I'm getting older. Just give it a fucking go. At the very least, you've got a great story to tell your kids. Oh, I had a fight. Got fucking battered, didn't I? It'd be good fucking fun.
And I think for those of us who are not in the extremes of a fight or rock bottom, I heard a nice thing during the week about doing the 1% change every day that can lead to positive overall.
Yeah.
I think that's where I am in the middle, if you know what I mean, because I'm not quite rock bottom.
Yeah.
I feel mentally fine.
Yeah.
But I think both the 1% increments, which is this week I've been setting the alarm at 5:30 and getting out. You know what I mean?
Good.
And then that will equal bikes eventually to gym to 7 to... So it's 1% changes every day. I have started the calorie count, and you'll be proud to hear.
I'm proud of you. Well done. Well done.
I haven't stayed underneath my goal because it's crazy. Again, I'm realizing things like cheese and all are mental and bread's mental.
Yes.
It's like what?
Yeah.
But I have been capturing the calories every day.
Good.
So again, it's another 1%. Getting up early is 1%. So I'm starting to build
Habit
back
stacking.
in little routines.
Your habit stacking. Your habit stacking is getting stronger. But I want to remind yourself when you're doing that, who do you not want to become?
Who do I not want to become?
Do you not want to, like, you don't want to stay where you are?
No.
So use that as fuel.
Yeah.
To use that 1%, maybe 2%. Maybe some days you want to bump that up to 5% because you feel fucking frisky that day.
I know who I don't want to become. Dead Wes. I want to live a long life, man, because I love being alive. I love doing stuff like this. I love meeting people like you. I love traveling.
But it's all right. Listen, Wes. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And you can do that, because you don't know when you're going to die.
Equals
but how about fucking, how much better would it be if you were fucking jacked? I can tell you, listen, from personal experience.
Sell it to me, Ali.
You may see me right now and think, Ali, how the fuck would you know you're in shape? Listen, I've been a fat cunt. Life is harder. Sex is harder. Pulling a bird is harder. Like, you've got so much more sense of humor. You're fucking jacked. It's fucking life's on easy mode. People just treat you differently. When you're jacked and you're in shape, and they may not even see your body, they just see it from your facial shape. You can tell when someone works hard by their facial shape. You can tell when I am in good condition by my face. Like, I turn into the fucking moon man when I am overweight. Like, my face is the first place to gain it, and I can tell from videos. I'm like, holy fuck, look at the state of me. And I still upload the videos like, fuck it, you know what I mean? That's where I'm at. Because when you're going through a bulking phase, which I have done, you gain weight, you gain a bit of fat. But life's so much easier for me when I'm in shape. Like, I when you're lying in bed and you can feel your abs down your chest, like that's a game changer,
Oh, I like that, because there's a general consensus that life's a little bit harder than it used to be right now at the moment, right? We're all going through some stuff. The world's in a bit of a mad place. Do you feel fit enough to face those challenges? And my answer to myself right now is actually no.
I call it being hard to kill, Wes. Are you hard to kill or are you easy to kill?
Right now, very easy.
Very easy to kill, aren't you? What the fuck?
I can't run away from you.
Do you know what I mean? But even just the physical strength to have a fucking, last. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to be hard to fucking kill as a man. And I'm not saying that you're going to be able to take on loads of attackers or someone say, well, what if I have a gun? Yeah, what if you have a gun? Okay, well, still going to be harder to kill than that guy who's a fat cunt.
I feel like my cats would kick me ass right now.
You know what I mean? You want to be hard to kill. You don't have that opinion of like, listen, no matter who it is, I am confident in the room with them. And you're physically capable, but you're also mentally capable as well. Okay? And listen, diving into a couple more points here. Listen, when you're competing, for the guys competing, you want to let go of, what's it saying, we need to take a roll on. It's all right, Wes. Listen, I'll take a quick one with this. Listen, you want to let go of overthinking in the fight. Now, I've seen this backstage in fights where, like, fight coaches have turned around to their athlete and started coaching them backstage and showing them how to throw a right hand backstage. Like, he's at 12 weeks. Like, what the fuck are you showing him technique now for? Like, tell your coach to shut the fuck up. If you're on a fight day and you're competing and your coach is reminding you of the fight, tell him to shut the fuck up. If you have a mate telling you on fight day, oh, you should do this, you should do that at fight, fuck up, you dickhead. Just tell him to shut the fuck up. Don't be reminding me on fight day. Listen, just chill, relaxed, enjoy yourself. Keep yourself around people you love to be around and have a fucking laugh. Have a blast. The one thing I did wrong in my fight career is I took it too serious. My best performances, I fucking had fun and danced to the cage and had a little bit of fun. I enjoyed it. My best performances, I loved it. My worst performances, I took it too serious. And that sounds like a fucking a false dichotomy in there. Like, what do you mean? You should be performing better if you're taking it serious. But what I mean is, I'm in that flow state. When you enjoy it, you're in a flow state. And that's what I mean. You don't want to be overthinking this. And the best way to not overthink it is enjoying it. Now, I'll define this a little bit further. What do I mean by that? Because don't get confused. If I'm taking something really serious, it normally means I'm overthinking. I'm thinking consciously. I'm thinking, oh fuck, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to do this. Because you're overthinking it. Because you're taking it serious. But the reality is, that's not the way to approach it. What you want to do is be in the moment and enjoy it. So if you're in the moment and you're like almost dancing, almost carefree, like, oh yeah, this is good. I'm feeling the music. I'm looking at my opponent and there's nothing in my mind. I'm in that flow state. I'm good. I'm controlling my breathing and box breathing. So I'm breathing in 4 seconds, holding the breath for 4 seconds, breathing out through my mouth for 4 seconds, and then holding 4 seconds and box breathing like that. I'm relaxed. I'm looking at the crowd. I'm like almost enjoying it. That's flow state. Now, when you get into flow state, you start using your subconscious mind to perform tasks. And that's what you want to do. You want to trust your instincts when you compete. You don't be trusting your conscious mind. It's too fucking slow. The best competitors in the world all use their subconscious mind when they compete. And that's the hardest place to be. I'm telling you this from experience. Because when I competed, when I performed at my best, it was a subconscious mind. It wasn't a flow state. And I could identify it. And I spent the rest of my career trying to find that flow state every fight. And not every fight I got it. Some fights, dog shit. Just thinking consciously the whole time. And a lot of time was self-pressure put on myself. Put a lot of pressure on myself. I live in the back of a gym. Was like, I need to win this. I live in the back of a fucking gym. No one works harder than me. I fucking deserve this. And I put all this extra pressure on myself, and it actually had a fucking negative side effect on me. Whereas in fact, I should have been like, no, I'm just gonna fucking have fun. Like, no one worked harder than me. I'm gonna fucking buzz off this. So do you understand that, Wes? Like, for people competing, you want to be in that flow state. Now, I can't really relate that to anyone outside doing fat loss and stuff like that. But I suppose if you had a takeaway and you're an average person, like, listen, no matter what your goal is, there's no fucking point if you're taking it so serious you're not enjoying it. Like, I want you to wake up in the morning and enjoy that fucking run. Like, put on your fucking best music and fucking have fun with it. Even if you have to fucking fake it and pretend you're having fun. I don't give a fuck. Go and enjoy it. You're going to the gym in the morning and it's cold outside. Good, because no one else is fucking doing it and you're undeniably hard as fuck. No one is doing it like you. So you want to enjoy it. That makes sense, Wes?
Yep.
So, listen, I'm going to see if I have any more points. We're at 45 minutes, are we?
No, over an hour.
Over an hour. Fuck me. I'm sorry for keeping this listed for so long. Listen, understand, fear words, no matter what it is, a tough conversation, a presentation, I want you to use it as fuel, okay? For the guys listening to this who are competing.
Use fear as fuel.
Use fear as fuel. Okay, it's a green light. It is fuel. It is your friend. It's saying, listen, this is the direction to go in. You're doing the right fucking thing. Like, trust me, when I say you need to embrace that fear and have fun, like, trust me, it doesn't... You know what's going to happen when you lose a fight, Wes? Fuck all. Everyone goes about their day. Like, no one gives a fuck. Like, you see, listen, I'm going to make it worse than that. If you died tomorrow, everyone will go to your funeral. They're going to have a little cry, and you see in a week's time, everyone's going to fucking forget about you. Like, you're not that special. You're just not. Your life isn't special. You're not special. You're not some special nothing. You are special when you can impact the world in a massive way. But in the grand scheme of right now, if you were just to die, people forget about you. And before you die, you have this small opportunity in this planet to impact it in a positive way. And you have the opportunity to compete in a cage against another man. Holy fuck, you can make a massive impact in the world because someone's going to watch and go, and they're going to be inspired by the balls you have to step in that fucking cage. And that being, it's a small step towards changing the world. Like, it's much bigger than just competing in the cage. Like, you're going to leave an impact. And it's the same thing when you're trying to change your life, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to achieve any fucking goal in your life. Stop thinking of it just about you. It's not just about you. You get to leave an impact. And if you're not achieving your potential, you're not trying to get up and get after it, you're not leaving an impact in the world. You're wasting your potential. And you have to understand, you have this small opportunity in this planet to leave a massive impact. And you can leave a better impact and make a better world first by changing you. If you cannot change you, you cannot change anyone else. You cannot impact the planet. You're going to impact other people. And you can't live the life you want to live. Wes, I think that's all we got time for.
That's a nice positive way to finish after shouting your head off.
After just screaming at people. I wanted to be serious again because we did. It was a little bit more lighthearted, but I also wanted a little bit of both. Listen, if you're on...
It's good because it'll hit somebody out there would have needed to hear that. I do believe that the universe does stuff like that because I needed to hear it for one, so thank you. And maybe somebody else needed that little bit of grit there.
Well, listen,
it's controversial, but it's nice.
Listen,
it's good. We're a complicated species, and it's not all vanilla. You know, there's going to be some.
I needed this fucking spoken to me when I was a kid. That's why I call myself Uncle Ali. Like, for real, I struggled a lot as a kid. Didn't have a great upbringing. Had a lot of challenges. I don't need to go into details, but like, I struggled and I needed an uncle to turn around and tell me this shit. Nobody told me. I had to learn the hard way. Like, I only got my shit together after retired fighting. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's hard. Like, I want the impact. Listen, you are struggling. Like, do reach out to me. Like, I will respond at any time. I needed help. Like, I seriously, like, that's why I want to be an uncle to people, some random cunt on the internet who doesn't even know me. Like, this is for you. Like, it's not me just saying it because I want clout, because I don't know fucking money from this podcast. Like, it's fucking literally me paying because I want to do it and share it with the world. So if you are getting some positivity from it, give it a like, give it a share, subscribe. Yeah, I guess we'll speak to you next week and see where Wes is with his journey. What are we gonna do next week, Wes? Tell the podcast, Wes. What's your Instagram called again?
It's cousin Wes Whiskey 90.
Whiskey 90, right?
On
okay.
Instagram.
So
that's my first Instagram account.
I love it.
If I have more than one follower,
I love that Whiskey 90. You know, we'll have to turn that into a brand.
90.
The Whiskey 90.
Whiskey 90.
Like a 90-day challenge. And then 90 days, you have a bottle of whiskey.
Kilos. Yeah, no, 90 kilos for me. Yeah, 90-day challenge. But
90 challenge, so yeah.
Next time I meet you, I'm going to have been in the gym at least 3 times.
You heard
I'll
it.
be back on the bicycle.
Okay, you heard what Wes said.
3 times.
3 times.
Next week.
And on the bike. Right, okay.
Thanks,
Listen,
guys.
I'll see you again next week.